Hey there, I'm Ari from the Tech Buyers Guru, and I'm very excited to be bringing you a brand new product on the channel today. This is the SilverStone LS04 Premium Addressable Light Strip. Now, you may have seen other coverage of RGB lighting on this channel or elsewhere on YouTube. Well, this is really a completely new product. It's a next generation product. They call it their premium light strip. I call it a light pipe because what this does, this light strip is extremely flexible and uses far more RGB elements than the typical light strip. I think it has 40 individual RGBs, which allows for a much more seamless view of that lighting. You don't have kind of individual pinpoint lights. I'm going to show you a more traditional light strip. This is an addressable light strip as well. It has 12 individual lights. And one of the problems I had with light strips like this is that if you positioned it anywhere where you could actually see the strip itself, you just see those 12 lights shine in your eyes very brightly and discreetly, and they were just too distinct. It didn't blend very well. It didn't lead to very good case lighting because you were kind of seeing just 12 tiny lights shining in your case. And that really wasn't that attractive. Well, SilverStone has attempted to address that situation so that you can put these out in the open in your case and still have them look good because it's such a uniform lighting. And another thing they've done is actually allowed the light to shine through two different sides, the front of the strip and the side of the strip, which means you can position it either horizontally or vertically in your case and get a lot of light shining through. And again, it's a more uniform light rather than those distinct pinpoint lights of previous generation strips. Now, a couple of things to note about this. First, they use the standard 3-pin 5-volt connector that every motherboard manufacturer has adopted, which is fantastic. Having that standard connector makes all the difference. Now I can mix and match different brands. I don't have to worry about having multiple control boxes in the back of my case. You know, if I've got an NZXT light strip, but I've got Corsair fans, now I needed two different control boxes in the back, and I had to program them each separately. That was a huge mess, and I really didn't want to recommend that kind of solution to my viewers because I didn't think that was what the cutting edge was. I knew that we needed to take that next step to a common standard, and that's what SilverStone has done. They allow you to connect these directly to your motherboard and use the extension cords and then mix and match with other brands as long as those other brands also use that common standard. One last thing I should mention before I show you these in action is that SilverStone uses some magnetic clips, and they include 6 in the package, so 3 for each light strip. And what that allows you to do is freely position it in your case without having to worry about the tape coming undone or the magnetic strips making these too stiff to really flexibly position, right? So if I had a magnet on the strip itself, that would make it twice as thick and probably twice as difficult to bend. But now I can easily position these strips even going around corners, which was pretty hard to do with previous generation strips. So without further ado, let me crack open this case, install these light strips, and show you them in action. Now, in order to demonstrate to you just how different these new light strips are, I've daisy-chained them with a traditional addressable RGB strip. Now you can see both light strips actually do provide a range of colors at any given moment. That's what makes them addressable. That's the definition of addressable. You can see the whole color spectrum on the light strip cycling through. The difference, of course, is that this strip only has a certain number of discrete RGB elements, and they're fairly limited, and you can see them, and you can see why you wouldn't want this very visible shining out of your case. Whereas this light strip, you really can't see the individual RGBs. I think there are 40 in here, like I said, and it does a much better job of providing a more uniform look. Interestingly, it actually shines brighter out the side than it does out of the top. So this would be like where the traditional light strip would shine out. I actually find that it looks better from the side. It's a lot brighter. But you can see, just compared to the traditional strip, how much more attractive that is to have in your case. There's just no comparison. This is absolutely a next generation product. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that these are actually quite a bit longer than traditional RGB strips. I think it's 18 inches long. So this is longer than my chassis. So for me to use this in this case, which is actually a fairly compact case, I actually have to bend it around the corner. All right, but actually it would be an asset to anyone who has a very large case. These extra large strips will cover that whole front to back or top to bottom area. Now in terms of positioning them, like I said, the side is actually a little bit brighter than the front. So what I'm actually going to be doing in my case is I'm going to position them a little bit out of sight inside this channel here. Now I've gone ahead and disconnected the older RGB strip, and I've daisy chained two of these LS04 strips together. So you can see the kind of lighting you can get in a case. I have a single magnetic connector right there, and remember you get 6 in the package. So say I could actually position this up here, tuck in my wires, and then use another magnetic connector right here. Position this at the top of the case, and it's that simple. Now I've finished installing the light strips all around the bottom, front, and top of the case. I'll close it up and show you what it looks like. All right, you can see what this looks like with the lights out. I have kind of a ring of RGB lights going all the way around the top, front, and bottom of the case. It's a very, very cool effect, and it's not something you could achieve without an RGB light pipe, which is what I'm calling this. This is really much more than a addressable RGB strip. So kudos to SilverStone for really innovating in this space. I give this product 5 out of 5 stars. As always, I'm Ari from the Tech Buyers Guru. If you like this review, please do like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.